Hey guys, welcome back to part 2 of the miter saw station build. In this video, I'm going to finish building the bottom side of the miter saw station. I'm going to go into a lot more details about building drawers, trays, and how to assemble them with drawer slides. So hopefully I can explain them a little bit better and in more details. Stay tuned. So to start things off, I want to build a pull-out tray in this section to house all the big buckets or the big containers with the epoxy and wood glues. So let's start with that. And we already know this is 23 inches long and then it's 23 inches deep. And I'm using 22 inches drawer slides. So I'm gonna build the pull-out tray 22 inches deep, the same side with the pull-out trays. And let's start with that. We'll cut the horizontal strips first, and we know the full width is 23, so we're gonna cut 23 here. All right, and there's two side pieces that we need to subtract. So get some scrap wood here. So now we also have to subtract the width of the full drawer slides. So this will give us a really nice relative measurement, right? And okay, I've already cut some 2-inch wide pieces. I'm just gonna use this and put this against it to make sure that everything is aligned. I'm gonna go ahead and make a cut. And when the cut's finished, I'm gonna put down my miter saw, lock the blade, and make sure I keep this piece stationary. And just take this off, take that off, and then now I can move my stop block to do the other cut. Very cool. So here's the second cut. And then I'm just gonna cut 2 more pieces at 22. So we're gonna use pocket holes to assemble the joints. We're gonna do 2 pocket holes along the horizontal side so that when we put the drawer front on the face, we can hide the pocket holes. All right, so now it's time to assemble the drawer slides. And ideally, you want to, this is backwards. So drawer slides is like this, right? So ideally, you want to keep this a little bit off the ground so that it doesn't, rub against it. So What I usually like to do is put 2 pieces of scrap wood in here. Alright, so take this off. And because the way I built the top is I recessed this about 3/4 inch, so 1 plywood. That's because that's going to be my drawer's face. So I'm going to do the same thing here, just to keep it consistent. So grab a piece of plywood. And it's about right here, so that's very good. This, so now this is set. You can go ahead and secure this. All right, that's one. And we'll do the same thing for over this side. And for the bottom side, I'm going to use a 1/2 inch plywood to prop up the drawers so it doesn't touch the bottom. So that goes something like this. Right. Just enough to make sure we can get this to come out a little bit. Okay, so now we can go ahead and insert this part, the actual runners, so that we can secure that onto the drawers. All right, very cool. Now that's secured, we can go ahead and pull it out just a little bit, and then we can get in the second screw. And then make sure it's fully on there. All right, good deal. Right, now I just have to pull it out. Get rid of the scrap piece. And voila, right? Bit of a soft close. So ideally I want the face to be almost flush with this. We'll use playing cards. So that's gonna be, I think, because this is 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch, and then 2, let's say 3.5. So I'm gonna cut 3.5 inches of plywood as the face. And here it is. Let's use 3 cards on each side. And then I'll get some of that spring clamps. Hold it in place. This is a drawer slice jig from Craig. The way that works is you find the center line, you align it here, and then you can drill your holes to attach your handles. So I'm gonna do that, but first to mark center. All right, so that's that. Drill that through. Finish that, drill all the way through. let's test it out. Hooray! Now I'm installing the next pull-out tray that's above this. And one thing that's very important is you want to keep the drawer slides parallel and the same distance from the bottom to make sure it's not like slanted like this, right? So here's when a relative measuring comes into play here. So instead of using like a tape measure to measure and mark, what's up? To tape measure and so instead of using a tape measure to measure the distance and mark, what you want to do, or what I'm gonna do, is to use a scrap piece and put it like this, so that I know I can clear this, or like this. Right? So use a scrap piece, and then put the drawer slides on top of this, and then use the same scrap over here, so that, you know, as long as I have the bottom measurements correct, it's gonna transfer it onto the top shelf because it's using the same scrap piece to set the distance. Moving on to this part. For this part, I'm gonna put 5 drawers over here, and each of them is gonna be 5 inches tall, which means I'm gonna make my size 4.5 inches because I'm using 1/2 inch for the bottom. So let's build that. This should be fairly easy. You just cut everything at once and then just assemble them all at once. All right, I've run into a problem right here. See that little piece at the end? Here, I'll zoom in a little bit. See this piece in the end? It's blocking the last drawer so that I can't insert it fully. It's gonna protrude out a little bit. What I'm going to do is I'm just gonna cut the top of the drawers off to here so that it doesn't block it anymore. And since the drawers are built like this, I can cut this off right here and avoid hitting any of the pocket screws. So I finished the final section of these cabinets off camera, and originally I was gonna put edge banding to cover up all the plywood edges, but I found this piece of padauk that's been laying around for quite a while and I couldn't find a use for it. So I decided I'm gonna trim this thing out in padauk. There it is, my new miter saw station. It has a lot of storage, so hopefully it'll go a long way in improving my organization in the shop. Thank you guys very much for watching. I hope the process can be helpful or at least entertaining to you. If you would like to see more videos like this, stay tuned for more in the future, or maybe subscribe, I don't know. See you later.